Greetings and welcome to the session on library research for Dr. Sherman's Fall 2022 SOW 6404 course, Social Work Research. My name is Ken Frankel and I'm the liaison librarian to the College of Social Work. What we're seeing on the screen is the library's website. The URL is library.fau.edu, and this will serve as a portal to the library's online resources and many of our services. I've prepared a research guide that includes links to many of the different resources that I'll be talking about today. To find this, you would click on the research guides icon that is here below the one search box. And then we can scroll down till we get to the course guides for fall 2022. And we see your course listed here, and just click on that link. And this will give us an overview of the objectives for today's session. The things we'll be talking about today include logging into Open Athens, using the library's catalog. We'll be talking about what peer-reviewed articles are and peer-reviewed journals and why it's important to use those. And we'll be talking about the difference between electronic journals and databases on the library's webpage. We'll be looking at some of the most important databases for conducting research in the area of social work, and importantly, how to create a search strategy. We'll talk about connecting to the full text of resources if we don't see a link directly to the PDF. And if there is no link like that, how can we get them? We'll talk about searching multiple databases at one time using OneSearch. And there may be a few other things that we'll talk about if we have enough time. We'll also talk about sources for the APA formatting of your paper and how to cite your sources and create references in the APA style. I'm now going to return to the library's homepage and talk about Off-Campus Connect, or logging into what is called Open Athens. So you see below the one search box, there is an icon that looks like a key. It says Off-Campus Connect. And when I click on that, it's going to give us two options, Open Athens and Easy Proxy. So there are very few resources that use Easy Proxy anymore. It is being phased out. So Open Athens is the one that you would normally use. And it is used both on and off campus. So wherever you are, the first time you begin a search on the library's webpage to use our licensed resources, you can go into Open Athens and choose Florida Atlantic University. And you'll be asked to log in with your FAUNet ID and password. So I will go ahead and do that. And then you will get a push for a secondary authentication using the Duo app on your phone. So I'm going to go into my phone and click on Approve, which will then log me into Open Athens, and I'll be able to search the library's licensed resources without being asked to log in again. So the reason you have to do something like that is the resources that you're going to be using through our website are not freely made available to everyone on the internet. And when you log into Open Athens, it lets the vendors of the information that we've licensed the information from know that you're affiliated with FAU, and you will then be able to go in and use the resources. If you don't log in first, then you will probably not be able to do that. So we're back at the library's website, and we will continue from here by going in and searching the library's catalog. The library's catalog is a database of books that we have in the library, both print books and ebooks, as well as things like government documents and streaming video. The main thing that the library's catalog doesn't include are journal articles, and we'll be talking more about that and searching for those a little later. But the library's catalog is where we would search for things like, as it says, books, videos, and more. So let's say I'm interested in finding information about homeless families. I can type in the keywords that I'm looking for here, hit enter, and I'm going to get a list of resources that the library owns. You can see here that there are 362 items, and these include things like, as I mentioned, books, government documents, and so forth. And as we scroll down the list, we can see that some of them say available online. Other ones say things like government docs, which would be the government documents collection. Some of those are print, and some of those are available online. Here we see one that's a print book, The New Poverty, Homeless Families in America. So if I wanted to get this one, I would actually go to the library building at the Boca campus. It does say it's found at Boca. It gives us a call number, which is what we would use to find the book in the building. It also says it's available and it may be loanable. So that means it should be available to get the book and check it out. So where would I find it? If I click on locate, it'll give me a map of the library. The call number that we notice here begins with HV 4505. And we see here that the call numbers that begin with HV are going to be between the HD and JZ. And this would be on the second floor on the east wing of the library. So I would go up there to get the book, and then I would bring it down to the service desk on the first floor. And I would be able to check the book out with my OWL card. The OWL card actually serves as your library card. And as a graduate student, you'd be able to check the book out for the entire semester. To return to the list of search results, I can just click on this X, and this will take me back to the list of items. And as you see, to go on to the next set of results, I can just click on number 2 down at the bottom, and I can scroll down the list and see examples of the types of items that are available as far as books and other sorts of items. If you notice over on the left side of the screen where it says refine your results, there's an option that says resource type. And when I click here, I can see that there are not only books available, but things like videos. If I was interested in just finding the videos, I can click on that and then click on the button that says apply filters. And this will reduce my search results to just those items that are videos. Some of these could be actual DVDs, but many of them will also be online or streaming videos. And you can see here that under certain items, it says available online. And to find one of these, I would then just click where it says available online. And it would then give me a link to go into the video. And since I've already logged into Open Athens, by clicking on it, I shouldn't be asked to log in now. And it should take me right to the page for this particular video. And you can see that we're in a different site here called the Alexander Street Press. And this is talking about homeless youths on the streets of America. And I can then click here to press press play and view that video. So we won't do this at the moment. And we will continue back to our search results. And again, the library's catalog, it includes things like books, ebooks, videos, DVDs, streaming videos, and government documents. It does not include journal articles though. And so in order to look for journal articles, we'll have to try some other sources. So we will now go back to the library's webpage. And before I go in and begin searching for journal articles, I want to talk for a moment or two about what these are. So academic or peer-reviewed journal articles are publications that publish the results of scholars, such as professors at universities, graduate students, and other types of researchers, as a place where they can publish their research. Now, when they submit their research study to be published in one of these journals, the journal will then send the article, the manuscript of the article, to other experts in the field called peer reviewers. And they'll typically take the names of the authors and where they work off of the manuscript, and the peer reviewers will then review the research, and they'll do one of three things. They may reject the manuscript outright and say, sorry, this isn't up to the standards of our journal. You can submit this to a different journal, and maybe they'll publish it. Once in a while, they'll also say, this manuscript is perfect the way it is. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and publish this. Most frequently, the peer reviewers will have ideas about how to improve the manuscript. So they do look at things such as the methods that the researchers use, what methods they use to analyze the data. They'll even look at things about how the article is formatted. Is it published according to the standards of the journal? They'll be typically formatting it according to the APA format for submitting a professional paper. And then the reviewers will send it back to the journal. The journal will send it back to the authors who did the research. They'll make the changes, resubmit it. And sometimes they may go back and forth several times like this before the article is approved or approved for publication by that journal. And from the standpoint of a professor at a university, this is good because it will help them earn promotion and tenure. It's part of what they do besides teaching classes and being involved in their professional associations. They do have to publish their research. Also, they will typically not work on a research study by themselves. They'll work as a group with collaborators who could be other professors here at FAU or graduate students, and also oftentimes professors at other institutions who are interested in the similar topic. So that's why it's important to the authors, but why is it important to you as a student to use peer-reviewed sources? This is because, number one, it's based on research. It isn't just someone stating their opinion. And number two, the research has been evaluated by other experts in the field. So this is giving you a greater assurance of quality and reliability of the research versus a non-peer-reviewed journal. So next we'll talk about finding peer-reviewed journals. So you'll notice on the library's webpage that there's a tab here that says journals and electronic journal search. And kind of logically, you would think, well, this is where I would go to look for journal articles on a particular subject. However, this is not the case. You would use this journals tab and the electronic journal search if you already knew the name of a particular journal and wanted to find out, does the library have that journal? So for example, if I wanted to look for the journal Child Abuse and Neglect, I can enter this title in here, click on search, and what'll happen is it'll take me to some search results for journals that include the words child abuse and neglect. So this first one is actually the journal that I'm looking for. And when I click on the title, it's giving me some more information. It is telling me that it is available to view online, and we'll look at that in a second. But further down, it does mention that the library at the Boca campus does have some copies of this from 1987 to 1992 in print, but the newer ones would be available online in these particular databases. And so if I click on that link, it's then going to take me into a page in this particular database called Elsevier, where there is a page for this, just this one journal. And so if I have a citation for this particular journal, I can look up all issues and see the particular year that I'm looking for, and then go into that particular issue and find the article that I'm looking for. Okay, so again, This is something that you would use if you already knew a specific journal title. It is not a place where you would go to look up a particular subject. So generally speaking, you would not use the journal search. So I'm going to go back to the library's website. Now, if we were looking for journal articles about a subject, we would use either a particular database, or we could use OneSearch, which combines hundreds of different databases into one place and allows you to search them at once. However, this would not include just articles from social work related journals. It would include all subject areas. So if I go back to that research guide that I had mentioned earlier, again, this was under research guides and the course guides for the fall 2022 semester, and go back to this particular guide, you'll notice that there's a link on the left side that says articles, journals, and databases. And this again summarizes kind of what I was just saying. If you were looking for a subject and know the name of a database, you can go into databases. If you didn't know the name of a database, I've listed a couple of databases that have content relevant to social work. And these first two, Social Index with Full Text and Social Services Abstracts, are really the two best ones that our library has to do research in social work. So let's take a look at the Social Index with Full Text. And you notice that I've gone into a different search interface. This one says EBSCO host. And EBSCO and ProQuest are two of the main database companies. So many of the databases that you search in will be either in EBSCO or in ProQuest. So this particular one, Social Index with Full Text, our library gets it through ProQuest. And so here, we're going to talk about creating a search strategy. And so let's say that I'm looking for the topic of elder abuse. And so here, when I begin typing in elder, you'll notice that EBSCO host suggests some additional topics that I could use that means something similar. So we see things like elderly or aged or older and so forth, using the word or to connect them. So when we connect similar concepts, we use the word or, and we put them on the same line. But now I'm interested in finding information about abuse. And when I do that, you'll notice that we are seeing here concepts such as abuse or neglect or maltreatment or mistreatment. So I can select those concepts. And again, the similar concepts are being connected with the word or, but the two groups of concepts are being connected with the word and over here between the two boxes. So now if we click on search, anything that we're going to find would include something from line 1 and something from line 2. So let's try this and see how many results we get. So we have a vast number of results, over 13,000. So now we want to consider ways to narrow the search down. So if we look over on the left side of the screen, it says refine results. And this is going to give us different ways to narrow our search down. So the first way I'm going to do this is by eliminating anything that isn't a peer-reviewed journal. And by eliminating peer-reviewed, I've knocked off about 3,000 items. But you'll notice below that, well, we found items that are peer-reviewed. However, there are some that aren't academic journals, so I'm going to eliminate those items as well. And that knocked off a few hundred more. But another important way we can narrow our search down is by date. And you'll notice that these results go back as far as 1917. So I'm just going to go back about 10 years, 10 or 11 years, to find the more current results. And so I'm going to just go back 2012 to 2022. And we've narrowed our search results further. So, but we still have almost 4,000. So there's still a lot of items that we'd have to go through to find these items. And I'm just going to scroll down the list for a moment. And as I look down the list, I noticed that, well, item number 4 has to do with Romanian senior citizens. And item number 6 has to do with neglected older adults in Ghana. So let's say I'm more interested in finding things from the United States. So I can limit my search geographically by putting in United States. And as soon as I begin to search that, I see things that say United States or America and so forth. So I'll select that. And here maybe we can eliminate some of the results that have to do with other countries. On the other hand, you may be interested in finding other countries and getting a more international approach. But for this example, I'll just limit to the United States, and we'll see how many items that don't include that are eliminated. So about half. So we've eliminated some of the results that are maybe not from the United States. But again, there's still a lot. And so I need to consider other concepts that I might want to use to narrow my search further. Now you'll notice there's only 3 boxes here, but I can add more boxes by using this little plus sign over here. So let's say I want to find prevention. And you'll see here that we see things like prevention or reduction or minimizing. So I can choose some of these words. I don't have to select these. I can go into the different ones and say, maybe I want to select prevention or intervention. But I saw some other words that I liked, like reduction or minimization. Actually, I wanted reduction, not education. So I do have to spell correctly. So, or maybe minimization. Okay, let's try that set of words. Again, I'm connecting similar concepts using the word or. So 732. Now, another way I can narrow my search down, we've again searched for the concept of the population of elders or seniors who are abused or neglected or maltreated in the United States, and trying to prevent or intervene in this abuse. But another thing I can think of to narrow my search down might be a particular setting in where this abuse occurs. So I might think about something like nursing homes. And here I see things like nursing homes or long-term care or residential facilities. So yes, I'd like to limit my search to those types of settings. Yes. Oh yes, and now we're down to 58 items. So we originally started with over 13,000. And what we've done here is refine our results to narrow our search down and make it more specific. And so here, as we scroll down the list, you'll notice that all these things are academic journals because we did limit to academic journals that were peer reviewed. With some of them, we do see a link going directly to the full text of the item. And we could click here to go to the actual article. In some instances, though, we do see items that don't have a link to the full text or don't have a link to the PDF. And this is where we can use this little button that says, find it at FAU. And when we click on that button, it's going to take us to a screen that might list any particular databases that include this article. And here it's saying we can find this in a database called Wiley. And so that database, the Social Index with Full Text, did not include a link to this article, but by clicking on the Find It at FAU button, I can then find, in some cases, not always, a link that would take me to the full text of this particular journal article. And again, here, a digital health tool to identify elder mistreatment. And I usually, when I have the option, look for the PDF of the article. And what we're seeing, this is an example, again, of a scholarly journal article. We're seeing the title of the article, the authors, and also these little superscript numbers identify where these authors work. So they work at the Department of Emergency Medicine at the Yale School of Medicine. We're seeing the abstract, which is giving us kind of a brief summary of what the article's about. And then as we scroll down, we get into the full text of the article. We'll typically see a methods section. So how did they conduct this study? And then we'll see the results. The results will typically include data and how they analyze the data. Typically, this would then be followed by a discussion. They might talk about the limitations of the studies, a conclusion, and then at the very end will typically be the references that these authors have used to create their particular paper. Okay, so I'm going to, again, go back to the results list. So that, again, to repeat this, I clicked on Find It at FAU. And there are ones that will give us a direct link to the PDF or the HTML full text within this database. I won't go into that right now, though. So I'm going to close this particular database. And I'll mention some of the other ones that are available to you. We're not going to go into all of these right now. So again, the social services abstracts and the social index with full text are the main ones to search for articles having to do with social work. There are some with related topics such as psych info or sociological abstracts. In social work, sometimes you need to find things like regulations of a particular state. And you can find these in the legal databases such as Nexus Uni or Westlaw. There are also databases that include testing and measurement instruments. The one that has the most full text is the one called, the full text of tests is one called Psych Tests. So again, these are some of the main databases that you would use to find journal articles for social work. Also on the class guide, we have links to streaming video. These are a particular interest for those interested in doing clinical practice in social work. And these include things like counseling and therapy in video, psychotherapy.net, and some other ones that include the actual video of therapy sessions, and also things like interviews with famous psychotherapists and theorists of psychotherapy. If you do, in searching any of our databases, encounter any articles that don't have the full text, and by clicking on the Find It at FAU, you do not find a link to the full text then. We do have a service called Interlibrary Loan, which you can use to request articles, and also the loan of books, print books from other libraries. So you do have to create an account in this Interlibrary Loan system. And after you create the account, you can request articles. And what they will normally do is send you a link to the PDF, and you'll be able to get the full text. With the books, they're usually print books, so you still have to come in and check out the print book at the service desk. Now, as far as citing any items that you encounter for your paper in social work, you are going to be using the APA format. And we used to suggest that students use the OWL at Purdue, which had a guide to searching the APA style for examples of how to format your paper and cite your references. Now, however, the APA themselves has a website, apastyle.apa.org, that includes many of the important things that you would use with examples of how do you cite, how do you format your paper. And this will tell you how to set up the title page and so forth. In the new version of APA, they do have a student version and a professional version. So you typically be using the professional version, how to do your in-text citation, and then doing your reference section at the back of the page. And it does have examples of references. So if you wanted to see how to cite something like a journal article, you look under textual works, and here's journal articles. And this will give you examples of how to cite a journal article. And you can see that the authors, the first line is not indented, but the second or any subsequent lines are indented. And we then see the date, the title of the article in regular text. The name of the journal is in full text, as is the volume number. Now, the issue number is not in full text. It's not in italics, but it is in parentheses, but not in italics, comma, the page numbers that the article appears in. And then if you have the DOI, you would also list the DOI. Below that, it was how you would cite this in text, either using the parenthetical citation or the narrative citation. So that's just a brief introduction to the site, apastyle.apa.org. If you'd like more information about doing your citations in APA style, there is on the library's YouTube page something called an APA bootcamp, which is a recorded session that goes into much more detail and lasts, I think, about an hour on citing your sources in APA format. So final things I wanted to mention are that if you do need help while you're working online, there is on every page of the library's website a red tab that says Ask a Librarian, and you can start a chat session here. Now, I'll mention FAU people at this time are online Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. There are librarians from other institutions who are there until midnight from Sunday through Thursday, and also on Saturday from around noon until 6 that are available to chat with you. If you're working after midnight on the days that we're open until midnight, or after 6 on those days, you can also send an email to us. Also on the library's, on the site for your class, there is a link to the subject librarian, me, Ken Frankel, and you can either email me or you can also call me Monday through Friday between 9 and 6. If you call at other times, you can leave a voicemail and I'll get back to you, or you can just email me and I'll get back to you that way. So that's going to wrap up this introductory session for SOW 6404. And I hope everybody has a great semester. And again, if you need help with anything, don't hesitate to contact me. Have a great semester, everyone. Bye-bye.